Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first webinar of the series. The webinar is hosted by my dear colleagues from Not Baltic. I have also a helping hand. You can't see her, but she's there. Can someone maybe write if you can hear me and see my screen as well? It'd be nice. I see multiple people typing. A lot of people typing. Hopefully that's good news. Today we are embracing discomfort because good morning, sound and picture working great. I can see you in your screen. When you say my screen, I'm guessing that is the presentation. Very well. I think we have conquered today's technical difficulties like pros. The presentation is great hearing you as well. Awesome. Okay. Let's start. Okie dokie. Let me start. Okay, so today's webinar, I guess for the Latvian people, is not maybe a bit unusual because it's in English, but yeah, we have some people from abroad, some people land from Belgium, Malaysia, imagine that. So yeah, we'll be doing this in English. You would be able to, of course, ask me questions. Yeah, anytime, pop them in the chat in Latvian, in English. Please don't write in French or Malay. I can't do that, but English, Latvian is fine. We'll answer both. Today we're going to talk about how would you use external vulnerability scanning tools to unmask potential internal threats. We'll cover also what that means for those who don't know. So yeah, nothing too technical today. Let's get this show on the road. So today's agenda, introduction, a little bit about me. Then we're going to explore a couple of real life very, very interesting cases that not many people, even in security field, might encounter in their career. Those are interesting. And then, of course, some final tips, takeaways, Q&A, additional Q&A if needed. But as I mentioned before, you can ask, just pop the question in chat, and my dear host, Inga, she's there, but you can't see her yet. Maybe you might see at one point. She'll tell me to answer those questions. Yeah, let's move on. Some people have seen my face before. Always the Joker. Been currently 2 years with my employer. It's a chemical manufacturing company. It's a global company. Day to day, I'm responsible for security operations within the Allnex environment. The company is called Allnex, obviously. You can see it also in the slides. Yeah, I'm also implementing lots of security controls. We all love defense in depth, don't we? Among other things, I provide quality assurance, risk assessments, also act as IT security subject matter expert to consult employees and all kinds of departments on best practices, security hygiene, you name it. Also following threat intel, yeah, a lot. And incident response trainings. Let's move on. So, and previously I was with these guys, so yay. Yeah, let's move on to case number 1. First, let's do a little sidestep. So whenever you speak about external vulnerabilities, when you hear something like that, you would imagine some vulnerabilities in software, maybe, yeah, some hardware vulnerabilities, even something that can be seen from the internet, yeah, externally. When you talk about that, you normally don't think about something that's a vulnerability that comes from internal environment. But those two can go side to side. You will see today. So when we talk about internal threats, there can be anything that is coming from the internal, like environment. Could be caused by, in majority of cases, caused due to human error. So case number 1, successful password spray. So first, small remark. In my company, we pay for a service called MXDR, which stands for Managed Extended Detection and Response. It's essentially an external security operations center where there's a team who monitors my company's IT environments 24/7. How they do it is they use something called XDR platform, Extended Detection and Response Platform, which is, you could call it a CM on steroids. It's a one single pane of glass for all your logs that are coming from different sources. Can be domain controllers, firewalls, endpoints, you name it. Whatever you integrate there, the logs will come in, and then that XDR will further use like AI, machine learning, some algorithms to further analyze it and give it a rating and correlate some different logs from different sources together to make, for example, to create an incident. It all depends on specific rules. So this is how it works in more or less like simplified terms. So what happened? One cool Monday, I come to work, I do like normal day-to-day stuff. So like read some emails. I see, yeah, there are a couple of new investigations popping up, but that's nothing unusual. There's always something. A lot of these are false positives. My team is like a second line of incident responders. The first line in our case is service desk. They're trained, they know what to do in majority of cases. So I'm not too stressed. I'm like, I see that, I'm like, okay, I'll get to it in like a few hours. So then I kind of, I don't know, sixth sense, I decide, let me just log into my XDR platform and see what's going on. And I see something like this. I'm like, what? It's the admin. I'm like, okay, this is no good. I look at the date. It's a Saturday. And I come on Monday and I see that. And I'm like, we're done. Like, it's a count on hours. I don't know. I was pretty stressed. I was like, oh, what should I do? So I started looking in. Yeah, so our external SOC detected password spray attack, which turned out was one of our FortiGates in China, an admin account. And just as a reminder for people who mixed like different types of password guessing attacks. So you probably have heard more about brute forcing. It's when you're using try a lot of passwords for one user. That's a good way to get locked out of the account. So what the attackers would use in majority of cases, they would pick usually 1 to 2, some cases maybe 3 passwords for all kinds of attacks. So that allows them to try to break in without causing too much of like generating too many alerts, because no accounts would be locked out if you just try to log in a couple of times. Second time you fail, you're like, yeah, probably we'll move on to different account. But here you can see they got it right on the second try. So good for them. So yeah, we got lucky, right? I looked around, there was just that, nothing else. They had admin access over the weekend. They could do whatever they want, and the FortiGate register a bunch of devices, add more admin users. We would not see anything. They can control like alert rules, firewall rules, like anything. And yeah, they did nothing. They logged in, they logged out. We can argue why, we can discuss, I don't know. But yeah, let's move on and see how that hack was even possible. So the root cause. In this case, there was a routine firewall migration. So what they normally do is they would, stage local firewalls with a temporary password, which is normal. For us, this is done by third-party vendor who manages our systems. They temporarily enable public access. After they do everything they're supposed to do, everything is successful, connectivity restored, migration completed, the same vendor would then perform like cleanup actions, disabling public connectivity, removing temporary accounts, disabling whatever. Yeah, they have their process set out for them. And yeah, looks like none of this was done. So yeah, don't forget, human error is an internal threat, internal cybersecurity threat. It happens, but it doesn't change. Yeah, it's a human error. They did not do it on purpose, but it's still a threat. You have to treat it the same as with some malicious internal source. What should have happened? Yeah, let's talk about this. First, let's address the MXDR fail, our managed service provider, the external security operations center, which is the first pillar of our everything. Wrong incident priority, definitely. So that I missed that human element here with the person, the analyst behind would put these things together and think like, okay, it's an admin, it's a FortiGate, maybe nothing happens yet, okay, but it's weekend. Will anyone see that? And yeah, it turns out the analysts, their logic is that, yeah, nothing else happened, so the priority stayed high, was not critical. Otherwise, if it would have been critical, I would have gotten calls. I would have known about it. Someone would have known about it. So yeah, so fail number one. Worse. The first line of responders, service desk, SecOps team, or human errors. Yeah. The incident was not acknowledged until Monday. Like no one even saw it, like nothing. Yeah, they had time. We have some people also in service desk, split between like pretty far apart time zone. So it's one of our responders would be in Malaysia, so they had like several hours to see that. But yeah, everyone's busy. Somehow this got mixed. Yeah. So then I saw that. Good that I saw that when I saw that. Right. Or maybe nothing would have happened still because yeah, they basically logged in and logged out. So yeah, and the third one, the external vulnerability scan fail. So how these tools normally work is they can also detect something like this. They can detect default credentials, default accounts being used. It would immediately would have generated a ticket to be addressed. The problem here is another human error of not predicting that. Yeah, if you have it running once a month, what are the chances it's gonna catch it when you need it? So yeah, it's needs to be more often. This is a good example of how to also manage external vulnerability scanning tool properly. So yeah, an elephant in the room, the whole access to FortiGate. Let me start on that, big boy. So with the post cleanup improvements we've implemented, we had discussions with our vendor, the review of the whole processes, all the problems and failing points. So how it should be is that there should be local in policies active, meaning that access is possible only from previously defined and approved IPs or IP ranges. That's it. Nothing from worldwide internet. Yeah. Probably a lot of you have already heard about this. It's a common security best practice. Default accounts are never to be used for something that is sensitive equipment, sensitive device, whatever. Even if it's not sensitive, I wouldn't use default accounts nowadays. Anything and everything can be hacked anytime. It's best to reduce that risk. If you do need to enable admin access, administrator access, make it temporary. So reduce it as much as possible, only as much as you need to finish your work, and then close it down. We need to talk about passwords. So complicated passwords, please. Complicated passwords should be used on all accounts at all times, including, of course, the local accounts. That's like non-negotiable. Administrator account, separate story. Also common sense to have it blocked after 3 attempts. How I also talked about how hackers try to prevent them being locked out. So they try a couple of times, move to a next account. So here the common best practice is 3 failed login attempts. Depending how sensitive is your device and how tolerable your admin users are, you can reduce it to 2 times. But I mean, you can also make it 2 times and then make it like after 2 times for 15 minutes, they get locked out. But you get at least a notice that something like this happened. They'll get their access back after 15 minutes. So not such a big deal, but just to avoid these common tactics from the hackers. So yeah, I would even go for the 2 failed account being locked out after 2 failed login attempts. Post-maintenance auditing, that's a must to counter all those possible human errors. Yeah, these were obviously not intentional. It happens, can happen with anyone, with me, with whoever. It doesn't matter which position they hold, what they're doing. Everyone could get fatigued, momentary lapse of judgment, forget. So that's why we should implement some sort of auditing to check if all the necessary actions were performed for post cleanup, in all the administrative flows. That's a must. Talking about security awareness, normally when we talk about this topic, people think about regular users, but I would stress that it's equally as important for technical teams. Just because someone is super experienced system admin, like that does very tricky and complicated things, doesn't mean they are invulnerable to some common exploits, social engineering risks, whatever. They might not know. Their focus is in someone else. So yeah, I would also definitely train technical teams as well, even for some common cyber hygiene practices, because you never know. We cannot assume that just because someone is super technical IT, they know security risks, especially the most recent trends and things like that. Yeah, external vulnerabilities. Can already mentioned that. I'd go for weekly. If you don't have a lot of ranges to scan, if you don't have some sensitive environments where scan could potentially maybe cause network traffic overload, if you don't have those, just do it daily. The more often, the better. So it's those scans they're doing their job pretty well. So yeah. Maybe many questions for the case 1. Did you see anything in the chat?
I do not see that yet, but before we move on, I have a couple of questions for you. And if any of you have any questions, also please write them down so I can ask Dana and we can discuss them. I hope you can hear me well because we're
sharing a microphone. Hashtag technical difficulties.
So in the first case, thank you. So in the first case, the attackers gained admin access but did nothing. How common is it for threat actors to wait or sit on access, and what should organizations do to detect such passive threats?
So I can tell you that when someone gets admin access, they don't wait normally, because whenever they log in somewhere, time starts, because that will be noticed eventually. So this is super uncommon. This is like one, I don't know, in 1,000, in 1,000,000. Yeah, it's like we got like 2 whole days. It's an administrator account. It's a FortiGate, which like it's a fire. It's where you set up firewall rules. You register devices. You through that, you can get into the whole company environment, like the whole site. And then yeah, like you can own the site basically. No one would notice because you can turn off all those alerts. You have all the privileges you need. Yeah, so it's just incredible. How you can how you can prevent that is basically what I described. As much like it needs to be as many as possible security controls. This is a common term now called defense in depth. It's when you have multiple security controls because like it's like a safety net over safety net over safety net. So if any security control can fail at any time, multiple can fail. As you know, I've encountered this in my career multiple times when 3 or 4 security controls fail, but one, there is that one that can save. Here, everything failed basically. We got saved. I don't know why they didn't do anything. Maybe they can also be possibility that that was not actual like a advanced persistent threat like a hacker group, cyber criminal group. Might be someone who is training in cybersecurity, like some researcher. They scan the internet for vulnerabilities just to check, and they're like they log in by mistake. And they're like, oops, they log out. Maybe that's that case. I don't know, but in any case, we got lucky. It was that person who logged out. Maybe it was automated. Maybe they logged in, the system logged out automatically, and we like, and then by the time the hacker saw, oh, we had that access, then we already locked that. Yeah, so it was locked, but could be also automated. The hackers just never saw that because there was someone else interesting. Yeah, they also have a lot of, yeah, it's not like they only target us. They scan the whole internet. Whatever they get, they get. So it might be also a scenario where they hacked like 10 companies with that default credential login, and they're like, they have then the list. They have the list of the targets they have access to, and then in a couple of hours they check back on their scan. They're like, oh, okay, we logged in here, here, here. Let's go one by one. Yeah, they just never got to us. Maybe that's the case. We never know. Never know. Yeah.
You got really lucky. I think that's also a blessing in a way because it kind of spurs you on and reminds you of the important things and to still be vigilant. And maybe that's a good way to enhance your solutions and stuff. Okay, and you also mentioned the external vulnerability scan could have flagged weak credentials. What tools or practices do you recommend to ensure these scans are both thorough and actionable, if you did not mention any?
So all these scans, the way that these tools work is, yeah, there are multiple, I guess, multiple vendors who offer such tools, and they have all the inbuilt algorithms in the type of scans. You have to just basically, yeah, it can be basic, it can be advanced. You pick the scan you want, pick the range, pick schedule, you launch it, it will find stuff for you. You can customize it, but for the most basic things like default credentials, common like vulnerabilities, yeah, like CVEs, yeah, you would find that. So default credentials goes under that umbrella. So it's not needed to do any customized type of scans or scanning algorithms. Yeah, it's just
Not too complicated.
yeah, it's not too complicated, not rocket science anymore.
No,
Okay.
for now, no. Thank you. If you have any questions, please write them in the chat.
Let's move on. Now, case number 2, that's an epic one. Whenever I tell my colleagues in the cybersecurity field about this story, they're like, you must be joking. And I'm not joking. So the title is Bad SSL Certificates. It's how it started. So also, yeah, the basic pillar of That is external vulnerability scan. During a routine external vulnerability scan on one of our IP ranges, I discovered faulty SSL certificate. So like self-signed. It's normally it would be graded as low to medium, depends. It's nothing critical. A lot of companies use self-signed certificates. That's fine as long as they're like internal. It's normal. But here, it's external self-signed, and I'm like, also I look at the device, I don't recognize it. I'm like, let me just, I'm curious by nature, so I decided to investigate. I found this stuff. You can see I tried to break in, at least it didn't use the default credential. So yeah, it looks like I looked at this, I'm like, is that a humidifier? Or like a Bluetooth? Yeah, it Alexa, like a Bluetooth, I don't know, whatever sound tube, whatever you call it, the speaker. Yeah, well, I forgot the word. Yeah, I tried to break in, I get locked out. I'm like, huh, okay. So I investigated internally a little bit. Yeah, I copy paste IP. Like, guys, do you know this IP? It's in our range, but no one knows. Yeah, what is that? It's not supposed to be used. The IP is not supposed to be used. It's supposed to be unassigned. No one knows. I continue, look around. So it takes me around maybe a few days, a week to get all the people back from some people that I can ask this from vacation network people. And then like, no one knows what this is. Like, but it's in our office somewhere. There's no other explanation. So then I start asking around, and then eventually my question travels to one of service desk guys in our office. They're like, can you show me? I show it in this login page, the picture, like, I saw that device somewhere. They're like, I think I saw it inside IT room. Like, you're kidding. Like, no. And yeah, they never asked what that was. Just they saw it, whatever. But they remembered. I had my suspicions. It's a long story, but yeah, I just like, okay, let me just go and check that out. Let's check that artifact in real life. This is what I find. So let's yeah, it's turns out it's the what would call it a rogue access point. It's a Ubiquiti. Ubiquiti is a vendor. It's an internet router. It turned out the site IT had brought from home. They connected it to our globally managed internet line. They bypassed all our firewalls, and they created their own private network, basically. And yeah, like, this is bad. Yeah, why this is bad? Well, it's for once it's a violation of work contract, at least in here in Latvia. There's maybe in all contracts there would be a clause that states that you cannot use like a company resources for your own benefit, especially without prior approval or agreement. This is not okay, because this is it's not yours to use. It's company's internet. Then violation of internal policies. Some acceptable use policy, IT policy, security policy, which brings in then security legal risks. Yeah, this unauthorized connection could potentially expose a company to significant security risks depending on the situation. And who notices that? Never know. Not to mention potential huge legal liabilities, because we have no idea what the person is doing on the internet. Could be something illegal. Could be watching something illegal, doing whatever, selling something illegal. We would not know. But when police would find that, they will trace it to the source. They'll come to our office. They're like, what are you guys doing here? And the problem is, it's company's signature on that internet contract. Prove it that it was not our doing. It's your signature. It's like, who's going to believe? Might look like we're trying to get out. Like, oh, it's, yeah. So it is pretty serious. So, and then there's the whole network capacity reporting. So that guy was streaming Netflix or playing internet games through the network. That's a lot of bandwidth that's used. And then we report that to our MSP, that our network is overloaded, but actually, like for real office needs, it's not used as much. So yeah, they can, whatever, bump the price, bump something else. I'm not a network person, but that's kind of going behind the back is not cool. And I'm going to mention that GDPR disaster that's on the table. Can you look at the right corner? That's a camera. You bet that was not authorized to be there, you know? Yeah, that's just a disaster waiting to happen. Yeah, after that whole thing, wrapped it up as fast as, yeah, I mean, as fast as possible, cleaned up that stuff. Of course, there were penalties that followed, serious ones. Yeah, we thought, okay, that's done with. Fast forward next couple of days, we get more stuff. So we discover rogue VPN tools with Gmail account that is used to externally access our backup and FTP servers, so file servers. So third party, whatever, free VPN tool, they use a Gmail account. Like just, people just take a step back and think about this. Our internal servers are accessible with some Gmail account, which is external, using some free VPN tool. You know what they say about free tools? If the product is free, you're the product, right? Then, yeah, rogue remote desktop tools, the Rust desk thing. The VPN is the Tailscale, and then there's a Jump Desktop Connect, and then all those shady firewall rules. Any. Yeah, have funsies. What can I say? And then there was other funny thing that I discovered later. So yeah, just started talking with people about this whole thing, and it turns out that this person, what they did, it just blows my mind. So they pulled internet cable from the ISP room through the whole office over the ceiling to their office after work hours. They were like drilling and stuff. It's like, and nobody knows it because it's after hours. Very few people there, very few, and no one asks questions. So yeah, like people notice devices, they don't ask questions. People notice someone is drilling. Yeah, but then again, he's site IT, yeah, so yeah, no one asked about the camera. Well, people might think, oh, maybe that's for security. There's in the site IT office, we have a lot of laptops, it's closed. Yeah, so maybe that, but no one asked. You see, so which brings me to what should have happened in that scenario. People should have asked, what is that device? Do you have a humidifier? It's so glowy. I haven't seen this before. Like, what is that? And then he might even tell, oh, that's yeah, bro, it's just my router for my personal needs. And then people be like, maybe that's okay. He's site IT, he knows what he's doing. Maybe they, also inquire about the camera presence. Yeah, is that like a camera? Like, why are you?
Especially if there's several people in the room.
Yeah, but there are not a lot of visitors. Yeah, it's normally it's the site IT person who goes to their, people suffering to fix their problems. Here, yeah, they might also, okay, some people are not sure, but they're like, oh, maybe I should ask someone, maybe HR, maybe office admin, maybe IT security team. They know we have a security team, yeah. So just in case, yeah, just in case, just a question, just be curious, be mindful of your surroundings, pay attention to new stuff popping up. So yeah, and of course the whole process of you want to install something, you have to raise something like a software request ticket. In different companies it might be different processes, but yeah, it's we're not enforcing anything at the moment, but after this whole ordeal, I definitely have balls in my court to push for very strict security controls in company. It's a good precedent. If it were my choice, I would have prevented this before something like this happened, and like enforce stricter controls before that. But it is what it is. But now, yeah, it's a good case to discover someone just pulling fresh internet line. It's essentially stealing internet. Let's yeah, let's call it as it is. Yeah, let me just go through maybe some final tips, takeaways. So again, I remind all the time, user awareness, it's like employee awareness is key. It's completely independent of any vulnerability type, internal, external, like whatever, data, security, it doesn't matter. Whenever any type of security is involved, it's always the like a defining factor. It's the strongest and the weakest link, always will be, because computers, technologies, they're stupid, and everything relies on human intention and human understanding, what they're doing and what's going on, being aware, being curious, asking questions. The whole webinar we have today, external vulnerability management tools. This is how I discovered it. It's an internal threat. It's not external. It comes from internal. It's a rogue personnel. Yeah. If not for that, I wouldn't have known what was going on. It's been just going on for a few weeks. So yeah. So it can also be used in that sense. So definitely, those tools are definitely not limited to only discovering external vulnerabilities. Usefulness can be much broader. Yeah, I might discover some things you didn't even know existed in your company. You never know, the dark recesses of your office environment. So yeah, I guess this is a good story to remind, to be mindful of how you vet people who you hire for jobs. I'd say good work ethics is equally as, if not more important than like specific qualifications for the job. Yeah, I know we all need to fill those positions yesterday. Everyone was like, yeah, we need people. There are not enough people. We need to snatch them while they're like looking for a job. But yeah, it can bite you after, bite you in the butt, it can bite you pretty hard. Everything could have been avoided. Or if you see some signs that you don't like concerning work ethics, it's definitely worth to take a step back and think about, okay, maybe let's have a talk with that employee to understand why they're doing. Maybe they're not happy. Maybe there's definitely always some sort of source of why a person does something. They do, yeah, always. And then maybe the last but not least, all that rogue software could have been prevented by a thing called application whitelisting. It's AWL for short. It's actually one of my favorite topics. It can be incredibly complicated to implement within a company if you don't have rock solid implementation strategy. I know some companies, very mature, big enterprises, who tried to implement this for years and they failed because they did not have good strategy. So this is something, after this whole ordeal, this is something that I plan to implement in my company. It's my big project. Yeah, you could have all that those rogue VPNs, remote desktop software, whatever. It can be whatever. It can be computer games. If you don't control that, any user can install anything. So application whitelisting is I guess, the basis of securing control over applications that are run within your environment. And it's not just It's not just for the executables. It can also be, DLLs, shortcuts, whatever. It's a lot broader. It's just the term, the umbrella term is application whitelisting, AWL. And that's why the next webinar will be on this topic. We'll have a, I'll call him AWL guru. next webinar will be like a masterclass. I'll also be there because I want to, for my own good, I want to have all my cards in to implement something like this. So it might also be interesting for people. It's maybe not that well known in Latvia, definitely not that well known. Maybe some other countries, it's more popular. It's coming back now. Used to be when there was the whole EDR boom. All these EDR, the standard EDR software. Everyone said, that's like application whitelisting is in the past. Well, what do you know? It's still a lot of it has a lot of security ring fencing, potential to be done, because your conventional EDR, it hunts for malicious things. These are unauthorized VPN tools, unauthorized remote desktop tools, which are, depending on intentions, can be as malicious as remote access Trojan. It's the same. The intent is what's different. So here you can consider that someone had a remote access tool, remote access Trojan on our backup servers, and we didn't know about it because the software is not malicious. Our security software is like, that's fine. It's a legitimate tool. It's a legitimate tool, but the intent was different. So this is where application whitelisting comes in. You can only install what you can install. Only the applications that you have listed as trusted in your company. That's it. They can install anything. So only the stuff they need. That's it. Yeah. I guess that's it for the topic.
Okay, thank you, Dana. I have a couple of questions for the second case. If you can
share mic, hold on.
Okay, so this case raises both security and legal concerns, as you mentioned. How do you balance prioritizing non-critical findings when the sources are limited?
I mean, the vulnerabilities, with that external scan. So it's a very good question, because when you first launch that scan, you never know how bad is it. You might find 100 vulnerabilities, and you're like, what am I supposed to do now with that? So you need to have a process behind. So first, you need to determine how deep are you gonna dive. So unless you run that first test scan, you basically would be trying to put processes in place in blind. So you have to run it once, just pick some more ranges, just see how it goes, how much things are found. It can give you a baseline of how good or bad things are. So and then you see, okay, I have like a couple high, one critical, I have like 30 medium, 100 low, like low severity of vulnerabilities, and you see, you look at what kind of devices those are. Are those servers? Is it just something that it's not critical, so maybe if there's a lot of low severity vulnerability discovered, maybe you don't need to fix them, because as mentioned, when we talk about security, we should always talk about defense in layers. So you know that on that device, okay, you have EDR, you have firewalls, you have this, you have that. So that's kind of limits that even more. So if it's a low, you're like, it's kind of 80-20 effort versus value. Is it worth fixing it for the little value it's going to bring? So it depends on device. It depends what kind of services that device provides. Is it business critical or not? And then if it's a high, I personally, like in my company, thank God we didn't have no critical. Thank God. But never say never. Might be tomorrow. day after that, I don't know. Definitely had some highs, so we fixed that right away. Had some mediums, not that many, fixed those as well. But for example, in like a second case, that self-signed certificate, I would not necessarily fix it for every device that it discovers. It might also discover something on device that is not under your control. For example, it's your ISP's router. Like you don't manage that, so you essentially don't care. Because yeah, so you have your firewalls, fine. So that's also something to consider. You can't fix other people's stuff because they're not yours. So it's important to identify how high its severity, what kind of vulnerability, will it even work? Can it even be exploited in your specific environment? Maybe it cannot be because you have other like specific environments, security controls in place. So that's everything needs to be reviewed in that context. Otherwise, it might be a lot of work that very potentially little value. So that's that to consider.
Okay, thank you. So human error played a key role in both cases you presented. How do you mentioned cybersecurity awareness trainings and whitelisting. How do you foster a culture of accountability and security awareness without creating a culture of fear or blame? Because there are some maybe I don't know how to even say it because such cases are really unusual. And as a secure IT expert, you want to scream, how could you do that? How did it not come up as something that's so self-explanatory not to do? But yeah, how do you foster a culture that's both respectful and accountability progressive? I don't know.
Okay, first remark, maybe the first case was human error. Second case was intentional. It was not, yeah. So uh, it's, yeah, whenever you want to improve security posture in a company, you need to have having management backing you up is one thing, but the management is only what, 10% of all the employees. The culture change comes from bottom to top as well. So the top to bottom, they can not enforce, but yeah, like there can be internal policies, there could be something in your contract. Maybe there can also be some penalties uh, defined in like internal policies or whatever. Yeah. But without that culture who actually wants to comply, it's difficult to enforce. And that would be the case of, yeah, the blame culture, finger pointing, and you do not want to go there. My approach is more like scare the hell out of people, but make it fun as you can. Like make it like, it's cool. It's every day. So yeah. Because without that, if you just scare everyone, then it's that topic becomes something that people will avoid because people tend to be scared of something they do not understand, so they will avoid it. It will make matters worse. If they see something, they'll keep it to themselves for fear of like, are you stupid? What are you like? Yeah. Without that, uh, if you just move away from that, yeah, that just fear and add some bit of human, make it positive in the sense that we all fail. Even like someone like me, it's like we're all, because we're all human. One of the most frequent phrases that I remind people is humans are the weakest and the strongest link. Like everyone makes mistakes, but you have to be aware about what's going on. What are you doing? Where are you? And constantly, because nowadays you cannot do technology without that. It's becoming too, it's like everything is so super insecure. So unless you have that human element under control or aware, it's like it doesn't matter how much money you throw at it. You can have 20 tools, like the most expensive stuff. It will not work because we need like people who try to secure environment, they need to cover all the doors, everyone. Like it's incredibly difficult because we're not superhuman. But hackers just need that one tiny, like not even door, a window. So you make people aware of that we're there, like the security team, for example, or not all the companies have security team. It can be service desk, IT engineers, IT admins. They have to present themselves out there, put themselves out there. We're here to support you, users. We know you don't understand. We know you will make mistakes. We do so too. It's normal, but we're there for you. But you have to let us know so we can help you. It's more like, let me help you.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk. Let me help you. What went wrong? Were you scared? Maybe, and like, I get a lot of messages also in my work from time to time when people write me like, oh, this happened. Dana, what should I do? I think I got hacked, and they're like super scared. And you have just to calm them down so they don't freak out, because when people freak out, they do some crazy stuff. Like just, yeah, they panic and they get like even like aggressive, and yeah, you have to kind of move away. And yeah, you have to make them paranoid, because it is what it is. It's like it's happening every day. This is how it's happening. This is what you have been missing and not seeing. Just kind of blown their brains away. Yeah, like they're like, I had no idea. But then you're like, that's okay. Happens every day. Yeah. And did something happen bad happen to you during that time? No. So you see, it's not as bad, but you will be better off now because you know about it. So this is how you approach, like a little bit of humor, a story. Everyone needs a story. There needs to be a story. You cannot just read slides for like 30 minutes. People will fall asleep and hate you, and you'll hate yourself. Have to make it interesting. Some personal fails, memes, whatever works. Try and experiment. It's yeah. When you have people engaged at least on humor part, yeah, it's lots easier to reach them with the security part. That's from my experience.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, looking forward, how do you see external vulnerability scanning evolving with the rise of cloud services and remote workforces? Are there new internal threats we're not seeing yet?
I mean, cloud is just another computer, you know. It's just, it won't change anything. You just scan cloud and not, yeah, it's, uh, actually, there was a good question, but I just remembered something that happened yesterday. Maybe, yeah, you might not be aware, but IT security world just got hit big time yesterday. I don't know how many of our viewers know Mitra attack framework, the whole, yeah. So they are the company who supports United States Homeland Security with maintaining CVE database, so common vulnerability and exposures, the CVEs. They did not renew the contract. It was until yesterday. So it's like, what? So when you ask what's the like, how is it gonna? What's the future in that context? Now we have no idea. None of us. So the internet blew up yesterday, in the security sense at least. Everyone was freaking out. A lot of curse words everywhere on X, on Facebook, YouTube, a lot of videos. Yeah, people don't, how are we gonna, because once you take that away, you cannot coordinate these vulnerabilities and fixes and ratings and priorities. It's very hard. It's probably can either someone can will probably have to either step in to provide that budget, maybe some security vendors, or they would create a whole new thing in that place, but it needs to be done fast. So yeah, I don't, a lot of external, maybe all of them, I don't know, but majority of external vulnerability tool vendors, they don't rely heavily on CVE, thank God. So they have their own sources from the technology vendors, and their published vulnerabilities, they don't rely heavily on that. So it's kind of like a safety net. Yeah, it is. But it is what it is. It's a workaround. It's not ideal. Quality might suffer, but I don't know. We will see that. Something that never happened, because that CVE was there for like, I don't know, It's for a long time. I think it was created in 1990 something. I think it's, yeah. I think it might be, yeah. Don't take my word for it, but I know it's pretty old, and that's why everyone is freaking out now. But yeah, at least the I've read the statements from some external vulnerability tool vendors that, yeah, they have workarounds, they have their own sources, so it's just one of their sourced CVE database, so that's fine. It's reassuring, but are these all of vendors? Maybe one or two? I don't know. I have no idea. Guess we'll see that. But in relation to everybody moving to cloud, that will not change anything because cloud is just computer, but it's someone else's. So the vulnerabilities are the same, but yeah, you just point your scanner somewhere else and that's it. So it doesn't change that much.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Dana. Thank you for your presentation. It was really interesting and yeah, eye-opening, I guess, as well. So thank you. Uh, if you have any questions, you can write them down even after our webinar ends. We will be able to answer you and let you know. And yes, I guess if you don't have any questions, maybe Dana, do you have anything else to add?
No.
Okay, thank you very much for your time, Dana. Thank you for everybody for joining us, and let's wait for the next webinar at the end of the month or at the start of May. We will let you know.
Application whitelisting.
Yes, application whitelisting. So look out for the next announcement. And we see artists is okay. Thank you. Yes. So thank you again, and we'll see you next time in a couple of weeks. And have a good Easter. Thank you. Bye bye.